What's up, brothers? Let me introduce myself right quick. I am Seppuku, a Challenger Syndra main, and I've been playing Syndra since around Season 4. I've hit Challenger every season with her, and as promised, since I've got Challenger with my stream account, I told you boys I'd make a guide, and here I am. Let's get it. This is your main go-to rune page, probably going to run at a high percentage of your games. You're going to take Electrocute. It's the strongest rune for Syndra. Very easy to proc, helps burst out targets quickly and secure those kills. Next rune you're going to want to take is Cheap Shot. It's a cheap way to add a little bit of extra cheap damage. Hey, you see what I did there, bro? Your W and your E can both proc it, and it's a very low cooldown, and the damage adds up pretty quickly. I prefer to take Ghost Poro. You could swap it for Eyeball if you like. I find that it's not too hard to stack the Ghost Poro, and the little bit of extra vision that you get is always nice. For the last rune, you're going to take Ravenous Hunter. This is swappable with Relentless Hunter. If you plan on roaming a lot, I would take Relentless Hunter. It's going to help you navigate team fights a little bit better as well, maybe catch people out a little bit better. But if you want to stay topped off and you want that sustain, go ahead and take Ravenous Hunter. I like them both. I switch them depending on how I feel. So just take whichever one you're more comfortable with and rock it, baby. Over on your secondary page, you've got Presence of Mind. This rune is super good. Every kill or assist gives you 100 to your max mana, and it restores your missing mana. Basically, you never run out of mana during a team fight as long as somebody dies that you hit. Kill somebody in lane, you get a free reset to your mana so you can shove out the wave or roam or skirmish, do whatever you want. Super good rune, extremely useful in solo queue. Then you have the Tenacity rune that is going to help you with stuns, slows, polymorphs, silences, any type of CC that's going to be coming your way. It might help you get out just a second earlier so you could maybe flash away, get your combo off you normally wouldn't have got off, and every second counts in League, so pretty good rune. Very nice, and that about wraps it up for this rune page. So let's take a look at the only other rune page you will need, and that is for Fizz. I know a lot of you guys complain about him. You will be unkillable with this rune page, unless, you know, you mess up pretty damn hard. So you want to take Airy versus Fizz. This is going to allow you to auto him a lot in lane to get a lot of early pressure down on him. It's going to let your Q poke do a lot more damage that sticks. You don't need to commit for any type of Electrocute trade, and it's going to help you secure that early laning phase, brother. Next is the main reason why you take this page, Nullifying Orb. Totally screws Fizz over. He can't kill you. Coupled with Barrier, you are unkillable. There's no chance he ever kills you. You just do whatever you want. You're good to go. Next is Transcendence. That's going to give you 10% CDR at level 10. It's going to allow you to become a spell slinger. You're just throwing balls everywhere. You got balls to the left, balls to the right. Then you look down and you realize you don't even have any. Woo! Excuse me. I get a little carried away sometimes. Sorry. Last, you want to take Scorch. This rune is going to secure that early game for you. Tons of damage on your Q, tons of damage on your E. You're just constantly poking Fizz out, stopping him from farming, getting your items first, which is going to allow you to be much stronger than him throughout the entirety of the game. Last two runes are going to be Presence of Mind and Legend Tenacity, which I already explained a second ago. That about sums up the rune talk. Let's go ahead and get into the good stuff and take a peek at Syndra's abilities. We'll cover Syndra's passive after we go over the abilities, since her passive is a little bit different. So Syndra's Q creates a ball in a ball shape that does damage around the ball. You use Q for pretty much everything: wave clear, trading, poking. It's the jack of all trades. Your other abilities can also interact with Q, which we'll cover in a second. And on a side note, Syndra's balls can actually go inside of anything, so you can put them in the walls, inside of towers, wherever you want. The balls go where they please. Moving on to Syndra's W, she can grab her balls, she can grab minions, monsters, summons like Ivern and Tibbers, Heimerdinger turrets, the Gromp, blue buff. You can literally W almost anything except for Baron, Rift, or the epic monsters. The second part of the cast will throw whatever you grab, and it will slow anything that it hits around it in the AoE, plus it will slow whatever you grab. So if you throw Tibbers away from you, Tibbers would be slowed. It's also very good at setting up a lane freeze and very helpful for farming under the tower, which we will cover a little bit later. Alrighty, on to Syndra's E. On its own, it's like a little cone-shaped knockback. You can cancel certain abilities with it too, like a Fizz Q, Sylas W, Diana E. You can cancel some of those abilities just by casting your E. But if you add some balls to the mix, her E can now stun people. You can put a ball between you and the target and E the ball to stun them, as long as the ball hits them. You can QE directly on top of them also if you want to stun them. Alright, on to her ultimate ability, aka Press R Champion, by the way. Psych. You can't just walk up and press R like people think, or this happens. You do 300 frickin' damage. Syndra's ult will always throw a minimum of 3 balls out, but Every time you cast Q, it'll pick that extra ball up and add it to the 3 you already have, up to a maximum of 7, which is going to increase your damage a metric a lot. I'm trying so hard not to cuss, man. I've had to record this like 1,300 times, man. It's just rough. All right, moving forward, Syndra's passive. When your skills hit max level, it gets added effects. So like your Q does a little bit more damage to champions. The target dummy counts as a champion and the Scuttle is a normal monster. Look at the damage difference. They both have 10 MR. These are about the same items you'll have when you hit level 9 in game. So about 60, 70 extra damage. Your W gets bonus true damage added to it. So here's a before W. And as you can see, there's no true damage. And this is what happens once W is maxed. Get that bonus true damage coming in. It applies to both what you throw and what you hit. Syndra's E starts off pretty small, and then as you max that ability out, once you hit level 13, it gets pretty thick. Just like that boot! Super useful for splitting the balls in team fights, which I'll show you later. The passive on Syndra's ulti, pretty simple. Once she hits level 16, she gets a little bit of extra range. Here's a before, and here's after level 16. That little jump in the blue circle that you saw is the extra range of her ultimate. Alright, so now let's head over and check out some of Syndra's combos. The first combo you're going to want to learn is Q. Wait for your cooldown to get around 1 or 2 seconds. E that Q that's already on the ground. Walk up, WQ, and auto. I call it the long range combo. I'm going to play a couple clips for you of it happening against actual people. There are variations, like at level 2 you won't have W, so you can just auto them to get it in. And this is your most used combo, I would say. Sneaky little way to prep them for a kill at level 6. You won't always be able to follow up with an auto either. Sometimes hitting them with WQ to proc electrocute is enough. You don't want to throw that auto out if you think you're going to lose the trade. Alright, so this next combo is a slight variation. It's if your Q is missed or if it's on cooldown and you won't be in a position to E. W, EQ, the ball that you already had. So in this clip, it would be a little too obvious and too hard to position in a way where I could land the E onto Azir just by using the ball already on the ground. Much better there to pick the ball up and throw it on him and then stun. All right, and here is one last example. Moving on, I'm going to show you guys how to do a basic 5-ball ulti. This is like your bread and butter. If anybody ever goes below 70% life in lane, they're pretty much dead if you 5-ball ult them. And here's how you do it. You're going to want to Q, wait a couple seconds. E, WQR. Same as the long range combo. You can also do the variation as well, which is Q, wait, and then WEQR. As long as you land the W on the variation, the damage will be exactly the same. I see Rek'Sai coming for that booty, so I Q early, WE, waiting for Q cooldown, and ulti. Amateur mistake would have been to ult early while my Q is on cooldown. Don't do that, guys. Gotta pay attention to your cooldowns. Alright, up next, I'm going to teach you how to 6-ball ulti with 10% CDR. So you're going to Q once, and you're going to Q again off cooldown. W, position with the ball, E, WQR. You got to pay attention and make sure you W the first ball you put down. The second ball you're going to be using to actually stun them with, so put that in a better spot. And just like her other combos, there is the variation form where you lead with W on the target instead of Eing the ball that's already on the ground. Q twice, throw the W, E, QR, dead. Now we're going to look at the 7-ball combo. You're going to want to Q once, Q twice, Q a third time, instantly grab the first one. As soon as Q comes off cooldown, W, Q, and R. Now that was with 30% CDR, and it does get a little bit easier with 40%. You have a little bit of extra time, maybe like a second or two, to actually get the 7-ball ulti off. I don't recommend doing this ever though. This is mostly for style points. So those are the basic building block combos you're going to be using all throughout the map, not just in lane. So I'll go ahead and show you a couple clips where some of these combos are used. So right here, let's go ahead and pause this clip. If you ever have bush control and you think somebody's going to be face checking it soon, this is how you'd want to play out almost every single one of these fights. You're more than likely always going to run into this problem where your Q is going to be on cooldown as somebody face checks the bush or is near you. What you want to do is just try to wait until your Q is about a second away from coming up and then lead with WE, QR. Here's a basic 5-ball ulti combo. And here is a pre-6 kill using the long range combo that I showed you earlier. So that about sums it up for the basic combos. These ones are going to be a little bit more flashy. You're going to need flash to make these, and also I'm going to show you how to split the balls. So first off right here, we have typical Q. You'd wait, and then you just E-flash. You can turn this into a full combo if you just simply wait for your Q to get to about 1 second before you flash an E, and then you can follow up with a QR for that quick little burst. It's super good at killing squishy people. If you have a level lead on an 80 carry or something and they come to your lane, hit them with this and they are going bye-bye. Next up, we've got W E-flash. It's your engage, the best way to engage on Syndra. It looks super freaking cool when you can pull it off, and also you could always throw a Q out after as well to spread/split the balls so that you can stun even more people. Did I mention how freaking cool that looks? I mean, let's be real here, dude. That is dope. All right, next is how to split the balls. It's really not as hard as it looks. Just Q the ground once, W that Q, and as you're walking in, throw the W in front of the first target, Q in front of the second target, and E in the middle of both balls. This combo is usually used when you're roaming into some of the side lanes and you want to make sure that whoever you're going to gank gets stunned. Remember, you're going to have to Q and W that Q while you show up to the team fight for it to work. You got our combos down. Let's go head over and check out our lane phase now, boys. So Syndra's laning phase is one of the best in the game. You can get wave control or start pressuring level 1 in most of the matchups. Pretty much 3 different groups of champions that you're going to be facing. Champions who can push, champions who can't push, and champions who like to fight you level 1. Against champions that can push you in, you're going to want to Q the wave once and start autoing the minions. But while you're doing this, whenever your Q is coming off cooldown, if the enemy hasn't pushed back and you notice you have a minion wave, slow down with the Qs, slow down with the autos, and start trying to poke them as they try to push the wave back. If you see right here, Azir basically gave up on the wave, and that's going to give me a window to hit level 2 before him and get a nice little chunk which I can later use to possibly kill him or get a small little XP lead. Whenever your E and Electrocute are off cooldown, you really got to punish when they go to farm. He wants the tank and I know he wants it, so he pays the price. This entire lane phase is just proccing Electrocute as soon as it's off cooldown whenever I can, and building up pressure and a big lead. You guys don't see this, but I'm actually up 2 potions on Azir right now. Full HP, half my mana. When this happens, you just want to freeze that lane. Because we were able to use our early power to win trades and punish Azir, he has to take a pretty bad TP. His lane's frozen. He's going to try and unfreeze it. And because he's so far pushed trying to unfreeze the lane that we set up, he ends up dying for it, which puts us at a huge advantage because the lane is still going to be frozen after. And he's pretty much out of the game now from that one simple play. Just from getting that early lane prio, using our power, winning the trades early, he's pretty much out. Alrighty, on to champions that can't push and don't like to fight. You can play this lane however you want. Even if Veigar starts to push and you don't, you can't really do anything about it because you can always spam Q on the wave to start pushing back. You can always do whatever. So I know Veigar doesn't have damage. He can't kill me. Even if I took bad trades and I missed my Q, he lands a couple Qs and an auto on me. He can't follow up. His level 2 is weaker, his level 3 is weaker. All of his levels are weaker. So I'm playing super aggressive into him. I'm not really looking to push the wave too much. I'm not spamming Q on the wave. I'm almost always looking to Q on top of Veigar instead. And this entire lane phase and the other champions like Veigar are all about just punishing whenever they go to farm, making sure you get an XP lead so that you can kill them a little bit later on once you get items or levels. Because of the strong early game, again, we were able to punish him hard. He took a really bad recall. He has super bad items. He has no sustain, and we're able to just punish him really, really hard. And the game is pretty much over for him now. At level 6, it gets even easier. 1 5-ball ult combo, and he is dead. Alright, so next are champions that can actually fight you if they wanted to, or trade level 1. So you don't want to go into lane spamming Q and just autoing. You want to see how the enemy's playing. Yasuo is playing super far back off the wave, so I'm just going to look for free poke here. I'm not going to try and shove the wave. Only last hit. You don't want to push into these people because you lose the extended trades. I'm looking to just poke him out when he farms and keep the lane on my side if possible. So my wave ended up pushing just from last hitting with auto attacks, but it was big enough to where I have a little bit of a cushion against Yas. He can't jump on me because there's too many minions. So I'm just looking to take advantage of him when he goes to farm, try and get some free poke on him, and use my range to my advantage. I end up getting ganked and burning my flash. Super lucky Nidalee missed the spear on me. No idea how that missed, but this is the ideal spot you'd want the lane versus Yas, Aurelia, and the other people who can actually fight you. You want to try and keep the lane closer to your side and only trade with them when they jump on you or when they go to farm. And a tip for keeping the lane like this is you don't want to trade with Yas when he's in the middle of his own minions, because you'll end up pushing the wave. So try and take trades when he's away from the minions. Try not to hit them all unless it's a good trade. Now that you boys got a couple new styles to try out, make sure you don't listen word for word to everything I'm saying, because League is a dynamic game. Sometimes lanes are going to be a little bit different. The players are going to play the champions a little bit different. Don't be afraid to go outside the box, you know, explore your own, add little twists to what I just told you, see what works best for you in certain games. And let's move on over to team fighting, shall we? So there's a different couple ways to play team fights on Syndra. You're usually going to want to start off in the back, but if you have flash and some survival items up, you can walk forward, maybe bait a couple cooldowns and set up for a big stun. It's perfectly fine to ult the tank if you can't reach any of the squishies in the back. You can use that front line to set up for a huge play if you see that the enemy team is fully committed to a play. So when you're team fighting or skirmishing with the enemy team on Syndra, you're almost always going to want to pop your ulti before you stun. And what this does is it basically guarantees that you're going to stun the person you ulted, as well as anybody around him. Instead of just QEing, maybe you missed the QE, maybe you hit just the QE on one person when you could have ulted first, stunned everybody, killed them, and got out alive, right? So when you're team fighting on Syndra, you're really looking to punish the squishy people that extend in front of the tanks. Right here, I don't ult Trundle, I don't ult Thresh. I'm saving it for Diana. As soon as she extends, I drop the ulti on her and I go to line up a multi-ball stun. And that's basically what you want to do. That's her strength. She's insanely good at peeling your AD carry and insanely good at punishing people who commit a little bit too far. A lot of mistakes newer Syndras might make is they'll panic a little bit as soon as like a tank is on the back line, and they'll just immediately ult them. What you want to do is you kind of want to wait a minute or two and make sure that the tank, let him get near his team before you drop the ulti. That way you can follow up with the E and it hits more than one person. If I ulti right away there, Malphite doesn't make it to his team in time, and I end up never killing the Senna. Maybe the fight turns south, who knows. Now that you know how to team fight, let's check out mid game. So your mid game on Syndra is basically going to be getting picks and setting up vision. Once you hit level 9, you are super strong, your passive kicks in, you can one-shot just about anybody who doesn't have MR and HP. So you're going to want to look for these picks around vision that you've already placed. If you think you know what the enemy is going to do, boom, take them out, baby. Don't forget to buy those pink wards, man, what are you doing? Buy the pinks. Right here, perfect example as to why you buy them. I know Soraka is going to clear the pink out because they want to siege the tower, they have control, she has no idea I'm here. Set up the WEQR combo, and see ya, nerd. Pink ward's MVP, man. Make sure during mid-game you guys are constantly checking the scoreboard so you can see what items people have. Somebody like Malphite you would think is super tanky, but if he has all armor, Ninja Tabby, Warden's Mail, and he doesn't have any MR or HP, he will be one-shottable. So pay attention to what items they have, make sure you check that scoreboard, and boom, take them out. Look at all the balls. Almost every pick is going to start off by spamming Q, then the basic WEQR combo. Finish it with the D for Ignite if you need it, because F is for Flash. Listen, if you don't have Flash on F, you're hopeless, man. What are you doing? Just go next. Alrighty, anyways. You know how to combo for early game lane phase. You know how to get picks for the mid game. You know how to team fight for late game. Let's move on to something we call patience. What is patience in 2020, right? Well, you gonna learn today, buddy. I know you guys like spamming your buttons off a CD, but you need to calm down. Be smart and calculated, try not to rush it. If you notice right there, I waited to use my E, making sure I hit Wukong before casting it instantly. It buys me just enough time to get the kill, and Wukong would have killed me and Fizz would have gotten away had I E'd instantly. Knowing the enemy plays a big role in being patient as well. If you kind of know what they want to do, you can counter it. You need to be patient with champions that have mobility and champions that have immunity, like Zed R, Warwick ulti, things like that, Warwick E. You want to really wait until you can bait those spells out and then do your combo or predict where you think they're going to go. Don't just randomly throw your E out. Patience, check. Let's go take a look at farming and wave clear. So a cool little trick that I'm not sure if many people know, at level 1, you can Q the back wave and the minions will die to one tower shot and your auto. So if you ever get pushed in level 1 or level 2 and and the minions are all full HP in the back on the mages, just throw down a Q on them. Secure those last hits, boys. If the enemy laner isn't pressuring you, you can get a little freeze by wiggling right in front of tower range. The minions are just out of range, so this will slowly freeze here. And as she pushes it in, you want to make sure that you use your Q to farm the first minions that walk in, coupled with an auto attack. Don't use your other abilities unless you have to. Always lead with Q because it's the lowest cooldown, so it'll be up quicker to make sure you keep landing those last hits. Another little thing you can do is use your E to shove minions away that would normally die in one hit to the tower. It'll push them back so that you can safely farm them and the tower will attack other minions. Try and get an auto off on the minions before you W them. That way they die to the W. If you think they won't die to the W, throw them away from the tower. Also aim your Q to only hit the minion that you want to farm so you don't end up pushing too quickly or ruining other CS. At level 5, you'll kill the back wave in 2 Qs. This is a really safe way to slowly push your lane and not miss any of the farm. It's also a smart way to set up a kill at level 6. They think you're just going to push the wave, and really you're setting up for a 5 or 6 ball ulti. So, pretty useful. A couple people struggle to clear the wave. When you're getting shoved in, you want to W the closest minion, and then throw it on the mages in the back, and push the 2 melees into the WQ that you threw. So right here, I'm going to W the melee, wait for the mages to line up, W, Q, and E right on the back line. It did push one of the melees to the side, but if you stack them like that, that'll usually happen. A cheeky little way to get a lane freeze or to push into you is to W a minion, and if it's too low to throw it, what you can do is turn around and press B to start your recall. It'll drop the minion right away, and now you have an extra range minion or whatever type of minion cannon, and you're good to go. On to items, boys! Just a quick note, I always start Doran's Ring, I never go Corrupting Potion. So the top buy would be if you want to rush your GLP or Ludens first, then you would want to build that. If you need the boots to survive like Xerath, Vel'Koz, Cassiopeia or something, then go with the bottom buy. Ultimately, you're just trying to get to the Lost Chapter, so then you can decide, do you want to go GLP? Do you want to go Ludens? GLP is cheap and pretty good at catching immobile team comps. Ludens is better wave clear, slightly stronger of an item. I like to build GLP when I back at 1500 gold with a Lost Chapter, or versus champions like Talon, Kiana, people who are going to build Edge of Night so I could pop it off of them easily. Otherwise, I almost always go Ludens. The wave clear and the extra damage is pretty nice. If you're not going to get value out of the active, then building GLP in general is just not worth it. So if you are going to build it, make sure you're using the active and getting some value out of it. Second buy depends on the game and the way it's going. Usually I'll build defensive second if I feel like my team has damage and I just need to focus on surviving. I'll go Morello second if the team has any type of sustain like Soraka or Yuumi. Otherwise I'll go Liandry if I feel like I need a little bit of HP and damage and they have people that may be building health in the future. If our team is lacking damage and I feel like I have to carry, I'll go Rabadon. And if the enemy team has a lot of MR, I will build Void. After this point and you have your 2 items, the game is completely situational, so it depends on what you build from here. If you ever need help, you could always stop by the stream and ask a couple questions about builds. I will not mind helping you. Let's go check out which sums to take and when. So you're going to want to run TP versus people that you think you can't kill, people that also take barrier. So Azir, Lux, people like Malzahar, anything you think you're not going to be able to get to and kill, you're going to want to take teleport. Next, you're going to be taking Ignite. It's going to be good into anything you think you'll be fighting. So assassins, people that you punish a lot in lane, anything you think that you can fight and that you can kill, you want to take Ignite. The only matchup you want to take Cleanse in is versus Zoe. Oh, wrong photo. Yo, I swear they're not related. You're going to want to avoid fighting when your Cleanse is down. Next sum is Barrier, and the only person you run this on is Fizz. Make sure you barrier his Shark damage or his E. Don't barrier if he jumps on you with Q or W. Only barrier the ulti or the E damage. That's about a wrap on runes. Now let's go head over and I will give you guys a couple tips before the end of the guide. The first tip is there's a little bug. If you have an E on the ground in front of the target and you ER instantly within like the same second, it won't stun them, it'll only knock them back. So be a little bit careful with that one. Next, you can actually W into the Raptor Pit from the river. Maybe if you have a Ludens or something, you can pop a kill. Just W on the little edge of the leaf of the tree and it'll go over every time. If you throw your W halfway through a wall, past the halfway mark, it'll travel the entire wall every time. This works with your E as well. This is actually kind of useful when people are running and hugging the wall. If they're trying to get away from a dragon fight or something, you can actually take them out. This next one is more a combo that's kind of impractical, but it looks cool. I've only been able to do it once. Here's the combo in live game. As I said, kind of impractical, kind of crazy. Mostly just to get a reaction out of people. If anything, you don't want to really try to use this. This is probably the best tip. It would work at almost every elo. It's insanely good. When people are coming to siege your tower, what you want to do is queue inside the tower. It makes it super hard to see. Usually I like to sit in the back so that they don't even know I'm there. Walk up, stun, and you just WQR whoever you stunned. Usually go for the AD carry or a squishy, and they are full dead. And that's it, boys. Hopefully you guys can take a thing or two from here and learn. Feel free to follow me on Twitch and ask me questions. I stream almost every day. I try and hit the 8-hour mark every single day. And yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support lately. It's been pretty crazy. This took so much longer than I thought. Holy I mean, I can't believe it. It was supposed to be a 10-minute guide. I got lost, man. But hopefully it helps somebody. Peace out, boys.